Welcome to Organizational Sherlocks, the podcast where business meets psychology and your organizational puzzles meet their match.
Join us for captivating stories and practical solutions to unravel your toughest challenges.
I'm Dr. Elizabeth Fleming.
And I'm Morgan Ashworth, your guides to a prescription for business success.
Let's dive in.
Well,
hey, Morgan.
I beat you to it.
You beat me to it that time. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention the last episode, you put yourself on the spot at one point.
Did I?
Put you on the spot. You're like, I got to tell this story, I think. It's kind of like instead of you saying, I got to put myself on the spot. And I don't know, I just thought about that because, I really enjoyed our conversation last episode.
Oh my gosh, it was so great. I think that Sue has just so much knowledge that, we could have probably talked with her 4 times as long as we did.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, yeah. Listen, you do a lot of marketing on your own. I do all the I do a lot of the marketing internally where I'm a chief people officer, even though I'm chief people officer. Small companies take on a lot of hats, and consumer psychology, obviously I have that under my belt. And so I'm like, I want to just pick her brain and talk to her more and more and more. But can't talk to her forever. And, we'd steal her time, and I think she'd give away all of her secrets, and people wouldn't want to go.
For sure. Although I will say, I think that even though she knows so much, I'm not sure. I don't think I could ever know that much. They have been so helpful.
Right?
Yeah, it's
You're
great.
A specialist in an area. I'm a specialist in an area. She's a specialist in another area. That's why you have a specialty.
Yes, exactly. Well, something she said kind of sparked something for me. And I know that I probably said it a few times throughout the episodes, but
Can I take a guess?
What?
Can I take a guess?
Oh, yeah. What am I really, really, really fascinated by and also excited to figure out how to utilize?
I don't know. I feel like we've had this conversation externally from the recordings a lot. Seems like it might be AI.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I just am fascinated by it. I don't know. It could be that my partner is in the tech industry, and so I hear a lot about it, but I also read a lot about it. And I came across a really interesting statistic, and I wanted to throw it out there to kind of kick off our conversation today, about digital marketing and all of kind of how it all comes together. So if it's cool, I'll share the statistic, and I just want to get your real time reaction to it.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah,
all right. So HubSpot did a survey. HubSpot, for those who don't know, is a CRM system, a customer relation management system. And they had found that 64% of marketing professionals said they use AI tools in some form in their jobs. Just your initial reaction, 64% of marketing professionals.
Well, first reaction is 64 is my lucky number.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Mine's 16.
Oh, okay. So I'm 4 times yours.
Jeez. No competition there, Morgan.
when you said 16. Oh, that's very funny. So anyway, 64 is my lucky number. So must be a good thing, right? Yes. But that to an extent, it's surprising. But at the same time, not everybody's a writer. You could be a marketer, but you might not be a writer. And so I think of ChatGPT and using those systems. I also think of, the systems that automate getting the metrics. Seems like we talked about that term a lot with Sue. So I think about that, not everybody's a writer, so they need help in getting and writing things. Also, I have an art department internally that does marketing and does actually product design. And there's an AI feature on Adobe Suite. We don't necessarily use it right now. Maybe they do. I'm not aware. But there's a new AI feature on Adobe Suite. So I could totally see how you use AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. So further broken down in that same survey for content creation, right? So the writing and the documentation, all of that, only 38% of the people who use AI in their work use it for content creation. I'm curious if you can think about what the other 2 might be. I'm kind of giving you a quiz right now, quiz on something that I haven't told you.
It's a pre-pop quiz.
The pre-pop quiz. I haven't taught you any of this stuff.
So only 38% use it for
content creation.
And then there's 2 other types.
2 other types that are kind of the top ones that marketers are using AI for. And you can phone a friend, the friend being me.
Oh, I can phone a friend, so I can just bring you up on the phone and mute myself here. Well, I think of, automation of marketing systems to an
Okay.
extent. I also think of consumer psychology with AI potentially.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, so you are, yes. I mean, I would argue that you were 90% there on both of them, which
okay.
is great.
Okay. I can take an
So
A. It's still an A.
it is still an A, absolutely. So you mentioned kind of like consumer psychology, right? So 39% of marketers are saying that they use it for research, things like market research, summarizing articles, trying to understand their customer and their consumer,
Little,
right? So yeah.
yeah, understanding your people.
Okay. And then 40%, this is the top of how they're using it, is for data analysis and reporting. So I would argue that falls in that automation space.
Yeah, I did say something about metrics earlier.
Yes, exactly. So I just think I don't know. I feel like that article is really interesting to read and kind of see how it's all being used. Because like you said, I think more people are becoming comfortable and are just trying to truly understand what AI is and how it can lead to ROI and help them in their marketing and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a really simple way to put it is technology is always advancing and AI is a part of that. I mean, I think of our performance review system at work, and it actually has like AI suggestions for what you can put for terminology or what you can put for sentences to say that the person's hit 3 out of 5 stars or 4 out of 5 stars, whatnot. And so like that's more content creation, I guess. But on the opposite side, it also helps you determine based off of those skill sets, based off of those wants, like what people are desiring. So I think you talked about it earlier, like, your sneakers, the type of sneakers you wear kind of correlates to the type of coffee you drink.
Right. Yeah.
And so AI can help do that because it kind of knows it. It takes it all in. I mean, truly before this, I actually looked up, AI in marketing. I want to see, what's out there. I'm always doing research. So if I look up AI in marketing right now on my computer screen next to me, AI is going to describe to me and summarize to me what all these articles say on AI in marketing. Sounds like AI in marketing.
Yeah, no, 100%. You want to know something interesting, and I'm happy to share a link to the website that I built if people are interested in that. But the first time I ever built a website was on the Wix platform. It was not for myself. It was for someone else, for a nonprofit, actually. And I will tell you, I had to learn a lot because AI was not present in the Wix websites at that time, right? Now, fast forward to not too long ago, I was building a website for my own company, and I was amazed by the options that AI provided me, like design different templates, design recommendations, ways that I could reword things that would attack kind of common keywords that are used in my field and all of that. And it is just amazing. Now, did I use all of it? No. But there was some things that kind of made me think like, oh, maybe I could say that in a different way.
Yeah, and also on top of that, like I feel like there's a lot of systems now that when you start to create something new or you start to problem solve something, there's like a kind of a chat box feature where you're kind of like answering questions of what your goals are oriented with this marketing platform or with this website. And that's kind of and like even talk about your brand and whatnot. And that's how the AI kind of contours those suggestions to be for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Funny story. So at some people that I know, I was helping somebody create a chatbot from scratch. So it was like, and a chatbot using natural language processing. So not like what you see on ChatGPT, but what would be kind of like internally for HR, right? Yeah. Common questions that people have about HR. And so it was me going into the bot, putting in, a question and then telling the person who was building it and developing it, like, this is the answer to that question. So that when that question came up again, continued to learn. It was just really, really cool. So I had to throw that out there too, because a lot of websites I feel like have those chat bots, right? And sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes you get the answer you need, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're like, oh, it's not what I meant.
Yeah, it's like situationally training a staff member, but you're situationally training AI. And that's cool. That's why when you go onto a website and it's like click, like when you're trying to log in, you have to click like where there's stairs or where there's a bicycle or where there's traffic light. it's not to make sure you're a human, it's to teach AI. That's actually why they do that. Teaching the AI system that the website's allowing them to use. It's not actually making sure you're a human.
Yeah, that's an I hadn't thought about it that way.
Did you not know that?
So I work on like a lot of dissertations and stuff, and help build out surveys and stuff on Qualtrics and all of that. And it's a topic of conversation we have a lot because we've had issues in the past where kind of bots have come in and provided tons and tons of data, right? In 4 minutes, they get 1,000 responses, and it's like, well, that's not real. And so it's how can we protect against that?
Yeah,
especially when it comes to research.
Bots, because AI is technically bots. So there's definitely like there's the protection against it, but they're also teaching AI.
Yeah.
There's two kind of forms. Like it's like type in the letters that are kind of faded out. You can't really tell. That's like preventing a bot, from what I've learned.
Yeah.
But on the opposite side, when it's like choose the boxes that have a traffic light in them, that's actually teaching AI. So that's what I've learned is like you can actually know which ones are catching bots and like making sure you're a human versus the ones that are teaching AI. But that's here nor there.
It sounds like I have some research to be doing on this front. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome. Teach you something.
Yeah. No, I love that. So, and not that we have talked fully about AI, but in our conversation with Sue last episode, we were talking about digital marketing and just all of the different kind of options, that people have. And I thought maybe it would be kind of fun to go through just even if it's our opinion / what we've read / what we've researched, whatever, kind of talk about what are some of the pros and cons when you think about digital marketing and using AI in that way. I thought that might be kind of fun for us to have a conversation about that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be really cool. So I mean, I immediately think of limitations or concerns that people have, and so many people are concerned of this is the number one, that it's going to replace people.
I don't. It would never will.
Yeah,
it can't.
I don't think it can personally. They can say it's going to replace people, but really the purpose of it is to actually speed up your work more than anything. And, you have to be a certain type of person to use AI and understand AI. It's like understanding the metrics behind your marketing. You have to really understand it in order to tell it what to create or what to do.
That's a really, really good point, right? Because what you put into AI, right, is indicative of what you're going to get out of it, right? And so if you say, let's just like example, right? Write me a title for a podcast episode for organizational Sherlocks, right? It's probably going to come up with something like, organizational Sherlocks : deciphering organizations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not going to be specific.
Like almost circle itself. It's going to circle. Exactly. Don't give enough detail. Versus if you say, write me a title regarding this subject about marketing and AI and this situational, the podcast name is Organizational Sherlocks.
Exactly.
Then it's going to create a much more specific, descriptive, matching title.
Yeah. I think it's all about how you teach it, right, to interact with you. And I mean, that's part of why when you use it, it's, you can do refresh, get a new option, that kind of thing, or
learning.
Yeah. Or like, or give it a thumbs up. I really liked this, or a thumbs down. Didn't like that at all. Like it's not just learning big data, but it's learning me. Yeah. Right. It's learning what I prefer.
Yeah, one thing I've talked to people about with AI is, when you are using an AI system and you're not quite getting out what you want into it, and most of the people I've talked about like with AI, they're using it for fun or they're just playing with it, they're learning about it, because we're all learning about it. But what I actually tell people is treat AI as though it's the Google platform when you're trying to research something and you're looking it up. Yeah. Sometimes the change of a word or the change of how the words are laid out will present a different option or a different outcome for your search. Yeah. So like if I'm trying to search about, diversity in the workplace. Diversity in the workplace is a very broad topic. So if I really want to dive down on what I want that research topic to be, I have to say diversity in the workplace of a small company that is primarily female or something like that. really get that description, and you'll get more of the research that's appropriate to apply to your company. Same thing for AI.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what it really boils down to is it's the quality of the data that you're putting in, right, is what you're going to get out. And I think that, to me, that I would argue
sounds like ROI.
It does, doesn't it? Kind of connects back to that. Yeah. I mean,
but in a much smaller form.
Yeah, for sure. I would call that probably a con, or a downside maybe of AI, because I think that, sometimes, as we talked about our last episode, sometimes we don't know the data we have and we don't do anything with it, right? Or we don't know what to do with it. And if we don't know what to do with it, then how are we going to realistically put it in to AI and expect something great coming back out? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. If you're not putting something good into it, how are you going to get something great out of it?
Exactly.
It's like, it's kind of the idea of like the positive circle versus like the negative feedback loop, that type of idea. But I mean, what other challenges or positive effects do you think will come from AI?
I think one of it kind of goes back to a couple minutes ago. You said something, and I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought, so maybe going back to it. I think that while AI can be super beneficial in helping you come up with content, and kind of giving you creative ways of writing things on LinkedIn or whatever it is, at least for me in my field, and I know for you too, Morgan, like the personal connections are so important, and so I worry that sometimes the replacing my own kind of self and persona, and understanding people as who they are, will sometimes lose some of that kind of personal touch at times.
Yeah, I do think that's a concern. But I think that's also why AI should be used to supplement your work and not replace you.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100%. I think that's something I've been thinking a lot about, especially kind of in my field. It's like, okay, there's a lot of ways that AI could be beneficial in assessments and all of that, right? But the fact that there's the human element, right? And it's not just based on skills, it's based on empathy, and it's based on communication and emotional intelligence and all of those things that, I'm sorry, I don't believe AI is really ever going to be able to do, because it's not human.
Humans are limited in empathy.
I mean, right? And like, how do you,
as an AI system going to, like, especially because, like, no offense, but if we think of like the really technically minded people when it comes to like computer science, things along those lines, I'm not saying they can't have empathy, but they have a different skill set than people that tend to have empathy, like computer skills and people skills. Yeah, you can have both, but usually if you're really strong on one side, you're less strong on another. So people that are even creating AI systems, will they create it with empathy, or the level of empathy that a counselor will have, a HR person will have? I mean, we see like there's that AI on Snapchat, that little like AI friend.
I don't know if I know that one. I'm not a Snapchat person though.
Yeah, I don't use Snapchat. I used to have it, but I know what it is. I mean, I guess I still have it. I just don't use it. But there's like this new system. It's like AI friend on Snapchat, and a lot of people have used it kind of like a counselor. In fact, like, which is kind of interesting, but I feel like there's still limitations to what you can say with it. And it doesn't know how to respond.
Right. Well, how could it? It's not human. It's a computer.
Exactly. Yeah, but I do think that AI overall has so many benefits when it comes to supplementation of work. Yeah. So it can help people improve their work. Like I talked about our performance system at my office. The performance system actually helps people tell them like their wording is appropriate, or helps them improve their wording. So it's not saying you're a bad employee. It's saying this isn't appropriate. You should tell the employee what to work to improve, or kind of decipher what in their work is quote bad and find a different word for bad. So it's an interesting system where, you're not necessarily marketing with AI in the sense, but you're kind of marketing to your people because you're ensuring that your message is reaching them in a more positive manner. It's more constructive criticism than just criticism.
Sure. Yeah. No, I can totally see that. I think that I think in a lot of ways, I know it seems like I'm bashing AI right now, and I'm not trying to. That's really not what it is. I just think it's important for all of us.
There's so many risks though. There are risks.
Well, there are. I mean, I also think that it's just like critical thinking is so vital in our world. And, so to me, it's just like critically thinking about it, right? I don't have to have an opinion either way. I mean, I use AI. I'm not going to lie. I do all the time. But I also have to just make sure that I'm aware that what comes out of AI sometimes may not be exactly what I intend or may not be accurate, depending on, the information that it's pulling from. But I will say though, like, especially when it comes to performance stuff and kind of HR processes or finding themes in exit interview data, let's say, or whatever it may be, I think it can be really helpful as long as you are, and with the caveat that confidentiality is paramount and like you're really considering confidentiality, right? Don't be posting people's information into ChatGPT or whatever. But, if you're trying to look at themes in responses or something like that, I think it can be really beneficial and really help with efficiency, particularly in really large companies.
You said it, 40% of people that are using AI in marketing are using it to kind of understand the themes of their customer base.
Mm-hmm.
And so not just in marketing, but you can also use that with team members, with employees, because you usually get all that data. You understand their race, their ethnicity. Maybe you ask about their favorite food, their likes, dislikes, hobbies. Maybe you ask about that stuff in your onboarding process to help with employee spotlights and really knowing the person. And you're actually more easily able to get that information from your own team at work than you are even with customers, because it's just readily accessible. And so in the end, I feel like AI with marketing, it can really be tested internally at a workplace.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely agree with you, which is kind of exciting because that's what we're talking about next time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're going to talk a little bit about internal marketing. So, I mean, overall with this episode, it's just get you guys thinking, what's AI to you? Do you know what AI is? Have you used it? Do you know any technologies behind it? And are you using it in your marketing specifically? Because that's where we see it the most. It's about understanding people.
Absolutely. It's all about being curious, right? And so I think part of this is just us trying to encourage you to be curious and jump on ChatGPT and ask it some questions and see what comes up, try it out, just have fun. I think there's a lot of power there, but we still have really a lot to learn. So
yes. Let's talk about AI more.
Yeah, for sure. I think this will be a topic of conversation probably throughout a lot of our episodes.
I think it's going to become more prevalent in the workplace as time goes on. I mean, SHRM always has information regarding AI. The federal government is coming out with regulations regarding AI. It's coming. So let's learn about it a little bit. So we're up to old.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be on the front part of the wave, right? Ushering it in, maybe. So
ride the wave, don't get buried under it.
That's right. All right. Well, what do you think, Morgan? Should we wrap up today's episode? All right, let's do it. All right. Well, everyone, this concludes another intriguing episode of Organizational Sherlocks. I'm Elizabeth Fleming.
And I'm Morgan Ashworth, reminding you that the journey to success is an ongoing investigation.
Remember to stay curious, in this case about AI, stay strategic, and keep utilizing insights to decode your business mysteries.
Join us every Tuesday for your next Whodunit. This is Organizational Sherlocks, closing today's case.
See you next time.